I remember a year ago, Holly, Donald Trump, candidate then, Donald Trump was in Las Vegas speaking to casino and restaurant employees and indicating to them that he was going to do away with tax on tips. He said no tax on tips. I had never considered it. I'd never even thought about that as a concept, although in reality it seems that a lot of people who get tips don't pay taxes on them anyway. But then in some respects you have to report them, and it's been an important part of our economy. But he came through on his word and was part of the One Big Beautiful Bill. There are now 68 different categories of professions that qualify to get no tax on their tips anymore.
Well, I didn't know that there are that many that could qualify. And one of the things that's super interesting is content creators, right? Social media influencers. And that includes people who do things like live streams or short form videos or podcasts. Or earlier today when I was speaking with Amanda Dixon, she said Twitch, which is like a video game streaming thing. So we're actually really lucky to have in studio Caitlin Johnston. She's our producer, and she can tell us how do people even get tips if they're doing stuff online? How does that even work?
Well, and different platforms have it different ways, which a lot of content creators, brand deals are kind of the big way to make money. You can also make money through like the YouTube Partner Program or TikTok Creator Fund and all that stuff. But there are ways to make quote unquote tips on YouTube. There's a feature called Super Chats. That's one example. And that basically means you pay more to get your comments seen, or you can basically just send like super chats to people just to support them.
Wow.
TikTok has this, and it's called gifts. You just send people gifts on live stream, like a present. I'm giving you a present.
That's nice. You
and
give
it
me
can
money.
be in funding. Yeah. And then Twitch, I believe it's called Bits. I'm a little less familiar with that, but Twitch is pretty big with gamers. And there's other people on there doing streams, but it's just ways to support people who are on live streams in the moment. And people do make a lot of money off of this. It's a strategy on YouTube on
Wow.
businesses. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I wondered about that because you've heard, at least I've heard, that these social influencers are making money, and I always wondered how they do that. I mean, how somebody could pay them for that. And again, this is getting into the weeds a little bit. Now it's considered a tip.
I guess that's it. Yes. So when I actually saw this article, I was like, oh, this is extremely interesting, because I do know a lot of content creators who make money for a living off of, YouTube and other platforms. And there's actually quite a bit here in Utah that you just may not know that that's where they're from, but there are a lot of content creators in the state. And so when it comes to making money with tips, I never thought Super Chat, like on YouTube ads, I never considered it a tip, but that's exactly what it is. You're giving extra money, because I would consider like the base income being, YouTube AdSense, which is based off of views.
Right.
And then the brand deals, as I mentioned, is the biggest way I think most people make money there. But then you just get this extra by doing a live stream. And if you have a group of supporters, you can make hundreds, even thousands of dollars.
Wow. That's so interesting. So we do have to clarify that somebody like Mr. Beast, who's making 7+ figures, maybe 8 figures, I don't know.
Sorry, Mr. Beast.
They don't qualify. So there is a dollar amount. So you can you can not pay taxes on up to $25,000 worth of tips, as long as your overall income is less than $150,000. But if you're getting hundreds of dollars in tips, that's got to add up, and it's probably not going to add up to $25,000.
Yeah, and I recall when, correct me if I'm wrong, Caitlin, when Elon Musk bought Twitter, and then I guess it went off the air for a little while. Was it Twitter that disappeared and then came back?
That was TikTok.
Or TikTok, that's
yes,
right.
that was earlier
Yes.
this year. I was a part of that downfall.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I was there
you
for
were
it.
disappointed. So I remember that some of these creators were saying, "That's my income."
Yeah.
And I'm like, who pays for that? I mean, it just seems odd.
It's based off of views. So, like as I said, there's multiple
TikTok,
ways.
that's what it
So,
was.
but
Yeah.
TikTok, like on TikTok specifically, you've got the creator fund, so you get it based off of views, and that's like coming straight from TikTok, and then you rely on other people like your viewers to get these tips. And I think a lot of people rely on that more so than the creator fund, in my opinion. But yeah, there are a lot of people who do rely on income based off of their content creation.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because you have other ways to make money online as well, right? So whether it's promoting a specific brand or you're selling products yourself. I'm thinking of like Ballerina Farm, right? I'm assuming that they're considered content creators. They've got a huge following. But just a variety of ways to make money, right? Online, because you can sell stuff. You can have somebody say, hey, here, if you promote this, then I'll give you X amount of money or this service or whatever in exchange. And you can also get tips.
Yeah, and I do feel like it makes me wonder, because I've been in the digital media world for as long as it's existed. I don't make money myself off of it, but I know how people do it. And it just makes me wonder if more people are going to try to jump in the game to try to do these live streams and get the tips. Because it seems like an easy way to make money, but you're kind of on 24/7 when you have to do this and it's your only income. But it could be fun side income. And I also just question, will it kind of be abused? I don't know, and just in that way, but why not, in my opinion?
So I guess you start posting, and then people are like, whoa, this person's really interesting. And so the provider, Twitter, goes, hey, you're really interesting. We'll give you some money if you'll continue. I don't know how it works.
You have to.
How do I?
If we need to do a whole lesson on how
Okay,
people
right.
make it, but you meet. I don't know about Twitter, but like TikTok,
Anything,
YouTube,
right.
you have to meet certain qualifications to get into like the partner program or the creator fund.
Oh,
Get a certain
okay.
amount of followers and support, and then you get to different levels. Like I know on TikTok, when you do your live streams, you can unlock different levels of gifts and what you can achieve when you're doing these live streams. So it kind of is fun in a way that you have these goals to reach. I was doing that a little bit over Christmas when I had literally nothing else to do. I was just going live and I was like, oh, I need to do a live stream 7 days in a row because then I can get to this next level. It was a little fun, but the no tip tax, sorry, I cannot speak. No tax on tips and just the digital creator world. It is kind of telling as to where we're going with different industries and the world today. But there are multiple jobs on this list as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of those other ones.
Thanks, Caitlin. That was interesting. I had no idea. But that's just one of 68 categories of individuals who are no longer going to be paying tax on their tips.
Yeah.
Some of them are quite easy, food servers, bartenders, those seem to be fairly straightforward. And that's sort of who I always thought we were dealing with.
Right.
Waiters, waitresses, bartenders, whatever. But there are 60 more categories, some of which I wouldn't have expected in a million years.
Well, like what?
Well, like there was plumbers or something.
Yeah,
I saw.
I know.
Like, what's up with that? Home plumbers? Do you tip your plumber?
I don't,
your
actually.
Electrician? Maybe you should.
I pay their bill, but I didn't know I was expected to
a lot
tip.
of these are home service providers, repair, groundskeepers, electricians, plumbers, HVAC, appliance installers. And I guess if you say, boy, this person was really good, can I give them a tip for their service?
Well, the answer is always yes, I guess.
But anymore, it seems like when you pull out your credit card to buy anything,
I know.
there's a little check the box. Do you want to give a tip to this person?
Yeah.
And now those are being exempted from income tax.
So
Your locksmith.
right, which I have never tipped a locksmith either. So I guess I just didn't know. Look, you can also tip dancers. You can tip musicians and singers and disc jockeys, but not radio.
Oh,
Not radio disc jockeys.
We don't get. Oh,
So I'm not sure why that's the case, but yeah, I mean it's just really interesting. Digital
so like
content,
a disc jockey that comes to your wedding or something.
yeah.
I guess that's what I would.
You can do that, yeah,
Or
but
your
not like
high school
not like
prom
your
or
radio
something, right?
something.
Too bad.
Yeah, too bad. Too bad. Too bad. So you also have just your typical hotel, motel people, right? So your people who help you with your luggage and your concierge and your bellhop people, right? All of those people who stand there, right, and waiting for their help.
I'm glad that someone had the wherewithal, and I suppose they had to do this to categorize the people that could qualify for tips, because otherwise you could say, I'm your lawyer, you know what I mean, and I'm going to do your service for free.
$1,
yeah,
but you're going to
but
tip
you can
me
tip me, which would be
$25,000.
ridiculous. But I think they had to put some safeguards in so that kind of thing didn't occur.
Yeah, so it's an ongoing conversation about whether that's fair. Because if you work in a warehouse and earn $35,000 a year, it's the same as a server in a restaurant, but you pay more taxes.
There you go. Yep.